Hey everyone, it's Natashia at the library, and today we're going to be looking at how to borrow ebooks from Overdrive on your Kobo e-reader. Today I will be showing you how to do this on a Kobo Aurora H2O Edition 2. It's important to note that not all Kobo e-readers are the same, so some will look a little bit different, and not all Kobo e-readers will support Overdrive books the same way that this one will. So if yours is a little bit different, you can always contact us for a little bit more in-depth help with that. The first step to downloading ebooks from Overdrive onto your Kobo is to make sure that you're connected to the Wi-Fi. You will need Wi-Fi to do this. So as you can see at the top of my screen, you're going to look for the Wi-Fi symbol and click on it to make sure that you're connected. As you can see, I'm already connected to the Meaford Public Library Wi-Fi, but if you're not, you can scroll through the list and find your personal Wi-Fi or a public access Wi-Fi on the list and connect to it. Depending on the Wi-Fi, you may need to enter a password and it will allow you to do that. The next thing that you will need to do is to connect to your Overdrive account. On my Kobo, you can see a More option down in the bottom corner. Select that, and then we're going to go into our settings. And you can see there's already an option for Overdrive. From here, you will connect to your Overdrive account by hitting Get Started. And sign into Overdrive. And from here, you'll sign into your Overdrive account the same as you would if you were accessing it on a computer or a device through an app. So you'll start by searching the Meaford Public Library and go. And our library is the first one at the top, so we'll select that. And then it's going to give you this drop-down menu that you will again select the Meaford Public Library from. From here, you will enter your card number and your PIN. Once you've entered your library card number and your PIN, hit enter. And this is going to take you to the Overdrive section of your Kobo, where you can start browsing. This will take you to the main page of the Overdrive portion of the Kobo e-reader. You can see where your holds are, and then you can browse through various sections of books. They have books that were just added, and if you scroll down, you can see various other categories, and you can view all to go and look at more books in those categories. For example, let's look at some of the CBC's best books of 2020. And now you see there's a list. You can scroll down and you can see there's an option to borrow on some of them. There's also an option to place a hold on some of them. So these are the ones that are already checked out at the moment that you can go on the holds list for, and these are the ones that are available to borrow right now. The borrowing and placing a hold is very similar to as if you were doing it on a computer or other device, but let's run through that really quickly. So let's say you want to place a hold on Mexican Gothic. You can select place a hold, and it will ask you if you want to join the holds list. So let's hit yes. And now it's telling me that I've placed the item on hold. So now when we exit out of this, and we go back to our main screen of the Overdrive section, and we go into our holds, we can see that we now have Mexican Gothic on hold. Now let's look at how to borrow a book. So we'll go back to our main screen, And let's see if we can find one that's available. So here's a book that's available to borrow. So we'll select borrow. And then on this screen here, we want to select these 3 dots. And you can see borrow with Overdrive. And now it says that I've checked out the item and that I have it until Thursday, February 11th. So let's go to books, where we can see where it is. So now we're in the My Books section of the Kobo. You can see the book that we've just borrowed has downloaded onto our device at the top here. You can see that it's unread and that it expires in 13 days. So when we click on it, now we're reading it just like you would read any other book that you had purchased on your Kobo. Now let's take a look at how we can search for a specific book on Overdrive using our Kobo. So in the top corner, there's a search magnifying glass. When we click on it, it will bring up a search bar. And beside it, you can see it says Kobo Store. We can change that so that we're searching on Overdrive. So let's say we're looking for Born a Crime. And we'll search it. Down here, this is the book that we were looking for. So we can click on it. And we can do the same thing where we go here and we can borrow with Overdrive. And there we've borrowed that book. On your Kobo e-reader, similar to as if you were using a Overdrive app, the books will automatically return after the 14-day loan period is up. But if you wanted to return a book early, let's take a look at how to do that. So first, you're going to go to My Books at the bottom and locate the book that you want to return. So let's return Born a Crime. You want to select these 3 dots and you can see return. And it's going to ask you if you want to return it early, and we're going to say that we do want to return it. So now it's been returned to the library, and you can tell that it's been returned because it no longer says that it expires in 13 days below it. You can also remove it from the My Books section if you would like by again selecting the 3 buttons and hitting remove at the bottom. And then it will ask you if you would like to remove the download or remove it from My Books. We've already returned it to Overdrive, so we've already removed the download, so we want to remove it from My Books and hit remove. And now you can see it's no longer showing up in the My Books section of your Kobo. The last thing we're going to cover today is how to sync your Kobo to your Overdrive account. So if you're like me, maybe you don't really like browsing through Overdrive on the Kobo. It's maybe not the most visually appealing system, and sometimes using the Overdrive app is actually a lot easier. So what you can do is you can go on the Overdrive app if you have it downloaded onto your device or just the web base that you can use on your computer, and you can borrow a book through there. And if you need help doing that, we do have a how-to video on how to borrow books using Overdrive that you can follow those steps. Now the last thing, when you've borrowed the book, just don't download it onto your device. Just make sure you've borrowed it, which I've just done. I've gone onto the app and I've borrowed a few books using the app. So now we're going to get them from the app onto our Kobo. So to do that, we're going to sync our Kobo to our Overdrive account. And how to do that is the sync button, these little arrows in a circle at the top here. So when we'll select that, and it's going to ask us if we want to sync it and to download the new items. So we're going to sync now, and it's going to connect to the internet, connect to the app, and download those new books. So now you can see that it says sync complete. So now when we go into My Books, we can see that there's 3 new books here that were synced from our Overdrive account onto the Kobo. And you can access these the same as you would the other ones that I showed. Just clicking on it and then flipping through the pages as normal. And that wraps up our quick little overview on how to access Overdrive on your Kobo eReader. Thanks for joining me, everyone.